Hi everyone, this is Penny with In Stitches with Penny. Today I'm going to give you my secrets for sewing with knits. Now, I don't want you to be afraid of knits. I know when I was younger I did not like to sew with knits, and I worked at a fabric store, and as I kind of look back, I don't think we had a lot in the store. It was mostly wovens. Well, styles have changed and fabrics have changed, and now there's a lot of knits out there, and really they're just more comfortable. It gives you a little bit of ease, and they're beautiful. There's a lot of gorgeous floral knits on the market today. So I chose this one. I found this one, it was either Hobby Lobby or Joann's, and I don't remember, but I took the last of the roll of the bolts. So I got 2 yards. It wasn't enough for the pattern that I wanted to make. I wanted to make this new look pattern, and I just needed a little bit more. But since it has princess seam lines, if you can see right here, I'll go ahead and post it up here since it might be a little bit bright. Then I had an idea of doing this version, and that's adding a contrasting fabric to the sides. So you have a princess, the princess line is coming down here, which has pockets, which was awesome. So I thought, well, since I don't have enough fabric, I'll use a contrasting fabric for the side. Here's my problem. My problem was I chose the wrong fabric. This floral fabric is real light. It's almost a crushed velvet. A little bit lighter than that, kind of like what you would find on gymnastics wear. So I found this fabric, and really I didn't look that long. I just kind of went and went, oh, there's some black fabric, I'll buy it. So I got a couple of yards, and when I was trying to put the two together, I found out that this is really thick. I mean, this is going to keep me warm for sure. And when I was sewing them together, they were sliding, and so I was off maybe a ½ inch, even up to an inch once I got down the seam line. Well, then things kind of get off and things kind of look kind of wonky, so I didn't want that to happen. Here's what I did. I went ahead and pinned along the edge, just parallel, not perpendicular, but parallel. I put my pins in that way. And then I came in and I basted it. I hand basted it. Yes, it's an extra step, but it really worked. Then when I took it over to the sewing machine, it sewed like a dream. I really didn't have any movement at all with my seam. So be sure to do that. I also did that with the bias binding that I put on here. I stitched it, and then I turned it over, pinned it, and then I hand basted it again. It sewed on just perfectly. So there's a tip for you. Now another tip is to find the right needle. Find the right needle that works with your garment, your fabric. I use the stretch needle. This just works beautifully. Some knits will tend to run if you use a universal. So you can use this or a ballpoint. Also, stitches on your sewing machine makes a difference. You know, for just a side seam, you may want to just use a straight stitch, but your sewing machine may have a stretch stitch. I know it'll have a zigzag stitch, and you can just do a little narrow zigzag stitch. Or you can use one of these. This is a double needle. And so, or often called the twin needle. Now I use the twin needle when I am sewing a hemline, or if this wasn't bias tape and it was turned under, then I would use the twin needle there. So the twin needle, the benefits of that is it gives a little bit of stretch. You have 2 threads on the top of your machine, you have your bobbin, and so as these, you know, as your 2 needles, your 2 needles go in your fabric, you've got 1 bobbin, and so it kind of zigzags on the underneath side, allowing that stretch. I'll go ahead and show you exactly how to thread your machine. It's really not hard. The next thing I like to use is fabric glue. I like to put this along the hemline and then fold it up, and then I will iron it on, just a so it has something to hold on to and it's not shifting. And I'll even pin it, you know, and you can pin or hand baste if you love to hand baste. I typically don't hand baste that, but I will at least pin it. And so this is amazing. Another thing I like to use is this book. I found this book. I really wanted to make this Joni dress right here, and I was looking for the pattern, and the pattern was only available in this book. And I still haven't made it. I will. Now it's snowing outside, so I don't need a summer dress, but I will make it before summer hits. So it's just a cute little twist wrap here in the front and kind of an A-line, you know, made with knits. And this whole book talks to you about making garments with knits. And it just takes the mystery out of all of it. So I read this from cover to cover twice. And you know, you learn something new every time you read through it. So I highly recommend this book. So I hope you won't be afraid of working with knits. You know, I was away from the sewing world for a really long time. I went to design school when I was in college at Texas Women's University, and we didn't even work with knits back then. Everything was wovens. And so I didn't have a lot of experience. And like I said, since I worked at the fabric store, we didn't have a lot. It was just t-shirt knits. And, you know, they're just, I don't remember even wanting to sew with them. They were just kind of shoved back in the store. They didn't have pretty patterns like they do today. I'm really into, I guess, the large floral because I've made this. There was a jacket that I made that was a large floral. Here was the culottes that I made with a large floral. So I seem to be into large florals at the moment. But knits are pretty simple. Just don't put two together like I did. You know, this nice, thin, beautiful knit with the velour. The velour should just stand on its own. This should stand on its own. Or find something that where the weights are closer in stretch value, and you know, just very similar fabrics. Just one would be a print and one would be the solid. The dress did turn out just fine. And I did have to take this in quite a bit. I was working on, I actually made, I'm almost afraid to tell you, I made a size 20. And know that the sizes on patterns are not the size, is not the size that you wear in ready to wear, not by a long shot. So in ready to wear, I wear an 8 to 10, and here I'm anywhere from a 14 to a 20, apparently, depending on the pattern. So I made the 20, and it was way too big. And it's a little bit big here, but I can deal with this. But I did take it in to 4 inches. No, 2 inches. 2 inches on the sides. 1 inch on each side. And so now it fits much better, and I love the pockets. Now this pattern did not have the cuffs, so I had a pattern piece from another pattern that I own and added the cuffs. Because once I have a tendency, maybe you do too, I have a tendency to cut off my sleeves too short. So, and I just didn't like it. It was just, you know, I like to like pull up my sleeves, you know, I'm always doing that. So I decided to add a little cuff, and I think it turned out really nice. So now I can roll up my, you know, just pull up my sleeves. Step 1, I'm going to pin it in place. Step 2, I'm going to hand baste it all the way down. Step 3, take it to the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to thread your machine for a double needle. This is the needle that I'm going to be using. It's just a Schmetz. This one is a 4 width millimeter, and it's a number 75. So this one, and also it's a stretch needle. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out my needle. That's done. You do want an extra spindle here, so I'm going to unwind that. Take both of your threads and thread your machine. And what I do is just kind of snip it, get rid of those threads, pull these apart, and thread one at a time. This is where you cannot use your automatic threader, which makes it a little hard when you can't see very well. So there's the right side. Your bobbin stays the same. There's nothing you have to do that's special. It would be real handy if a machine would thread this. I do like to put my threads underneath the presser foot. And now we're ready to sew. So there you have it. There's my tips. And remember, my #1 tip is hand baste. That's gonna make or break it sometimes. And if you don't need to, great. But I bet it'll be a game changer for you. So thank you for joining me. I'm Penny with In Stitches with Penny. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. This has been so much fun. This is my creative outlet. And leave comments below if you have a tip that you would like to share, or maybe one of these was a game changer for you. I would love to hear from you. And so I also have all of the links. They are affiliate links with Amazon, but you can get the book from Tilly and the Buttons through there. I highly recommend it. It's an awesome book. And I want to get all the rest of them that they have too. So have a wonderful day, and I hope it's not snowing where you are and it's nice and warm. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.